Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jared Lombard with the Atlanta Regional Commission, and I'm here today to talk about our Washington Road Pedestrian Safety Project. This project was a ARC Community Development Assistance Program. The Community Development Assistance Program is the implementation program for the priorities established by ARC through its policies and plans. Through this program, ARC provides technical assistance to local governments and other community organizations that align with our agency priorities. And today we're talking about our project with the City of South Fulton for Washington Road, specifically between Roosevelt Highway and the city limits with East Point. This project, the goals are really to, This project will provide recommendations for the City of South Fulton for some short-term transportation projects and also some visions for some of the long-term transportation investments to really look at improving pedestrian safety along this corridor. This project will provide a framework of planning that the city staff can also use for other corridors in the city. To get us kind of started, and since I can't see everyone today, I'm kind of asking you just really quickly if you can just respond to this online software of how do you feel today. So if you can text to the number 22333, so 22333, text the word CDEV 555 to join our online poll. And then once you've done that, then select A, B, or C on how you feel today. So A if you're happy, B if you're a little freaked out, or C if you're angry. So if everyone can go ahead and do that, we'll get recorded. Wait, let's see. Show responses. Okay, everyone's feeling happy today. That's good. So am I. All right, to kind of just move on, and we'll have some other online polls throughout this process. So please keep your phone nearby. Like I said before, this project is really looking at Washington Road between Roosevelt Highway and the city limits to the north of the corridor. There's a couple new and interesting projects going along that make this a unique and interesting place to talk about pedestrian safety. The area along the southeastern side of the corridor at the intersection of Roosevelt Highway and Washington Road is going to be the location for the new Atlanta Job Corps facility. So that will bring new residents and visitors to the corridor who may not have a car or have good transportation. In addition, to the north, where you see all those gray boxes on the upper left-hand side, that is a large multifamily complex that has some transit riderships as well. In addition, there's lots of churches along this corridor as well. Now, Washington Road in the corridor is around 4 lanes in each direction. And it does have a 5-foot sidewalk on one side of the corridor. Both, all the lanes are about 12 feet wide, and it does see some significant truck traffic of trucks coming from the north near the Camp Creek area and using it as a cut through to get to other areas further south of the region. It's like the CSX rail yard or as a way to get to Interstate 85. Now, one of the key questions about this project is how do we build a community where it's easier and safer to walk and bike? And this is an example or graphic from our Walk, Bike, Thrive plan that Byron Rushing on this call worked on and managed. And it's really, for ARC, it's how do we encourage walking and biking and provide really good, safe connections to different, opportunities or places to walk. So it could be, you know, how do we get, you know, safe access to transit? How can we give safe access to our trails and greenways? And how do they all interact in a regional system? One of the key ways we're looking at this is, you know, using the concept complete streets. And you may have heard about this before. It's, you know, looking at really two kind of options. And this is an example corridor that's similar to Washington Road. One, you know, how do we, you know, making sure that sidewalks that are providing safe places for people to travel by foot or by wheelchair through in the area. How do we have safe crosswalks that could be, you know, with some pedestrian hybrid beacons? You know, over the last few months, walking has become, you know, one of my most popular things to do, and having a good, safe place for everyone in the region is important to have. And this is, you know, just some lower, this example on the screen is some smaller options of a project to improve the safe walking environment. But it can also build upon to be a much more in-depth project. And so this is the same corridor, but with more elements. One, it could be adding separated bike lanes for people to travel on the corridor. It could also be, you know, adding some pedestrian and street level lighting. That's one thing that we heard a lot in the survey. And then also providing some median and pedestrian crossing islands, so you feel safer crossing the corridor. This example project would take a little bit longer to do for improvements on Washington Road. Now, this is, you know, seeing again, this is what the corridor is. It's just a 4-lane segment. Now, many 4-lane segments carry a large amount of vehicle traffic. However, or actually, let's take a step back. Going back to how far would want to walk to a crosswalk to cross the street? Would you want to travel 25 feet, 100 feet, 250 feet, 500 feet, a quarter mile, a half mile or more, or you'll just cross whenever you want? So if you can, just answer and start answering. So a few people have said, I'll cross when I want. Another person said, you know, 250 feet. All right. We'll just give it a couple more minutes or a couple more seconds. A couple more seconds. All right. All right. So a couple people have said they'll cross when they want, and another person, you know, would say that it's about 250 feet, which is, you know, a short distance. But if you think about Washington Road, there is only 2 crosswalks on the whole corridor. One at the very south of the corridor at Roosevelt Highway, and then one all the way at the very top near Commerce Drive. So it is, you know, you wouldn't have that option of, you know, crossing that 250 feet anywhere on that corridor. Now, thinking about going on, you know, thinking about the traffic of the corridor, it does carry up just under 10 or just over 10,000 cars a day on the corridor. To put it in perspective, Roosevelt Highway, which is to the north, which is only 2 lanes, carries around 18,000. So from a planning and engineering perspective, there is a lot of excess capacity on the corridor that could be of the lanes that could be used for something else. And that's one of the questions we're going to ask today as well. Now, ARC staff also went out and conducted a walking audit to look at, you know, how the sidewalks are and, you know, the condition. Now, there is sidewalks on the western edge of the Washington Road. Some are in good condition. Some, you know, there is some deterioration or impediments in the sidewalks, such as fire hydrants, or where the sidewalk has, washed out. Other areas, it's just an old sidewalk where the concrete is cracked and shifted a little bit. On the eastern edge of the corridor, there is not a sidewalk present for most of the corridor. Where in the area to the south where you see the Atlanta Job Corps facility, that will probably have some sidewalk improvements to it in the future, but currently there is no sidewalks as well. But the other interesting fact is there is transit on this corridor. Right now, there is several transit stops on the corridor. Some have some either shelter or seating. It's interesting that most of the shelter and seating are on the side that does not have a sidewalk. There is, to the northern edge, there's an older retail center that is now a church that does actually have a bus shelter and that's and seating that's in a very good condition. Further down to the very south, across from the BP station, there is a small bench with the route listed, or with a bus stop on the eastern edge as well. However, most of the bus stops in this area are just just a pole, MARTA pole in the ground as well. We also looked at some, where areas of some, definitely some key problems. Some areas there's no or a faded crosswalk crossing all the roads. There's other areas where the drainage is a challenge, where it's, covering the sidewalk with either standing water, mud, or debris. I've talked about also the fire hydrant blocking the sidewalks. And then also areas where there is no curb cuts. If, it may be easy, these may be easy to traverse if you are, perfectly healthy, but if you have any mobility impairments or difficulties trying to cross some of these challenges or problems could cause some challenges. All right. And then also, thinking about this corridor, what are some of the key issues keeping you from walking on this corridor? So it could be, what are the key issues? It could be vehicle speeds, crosswalks, nothing to walk to. It's not interesting. I'm just not sure, but I just don't feel safe walking on the corridor, or something else. And feel free, everyone, to respond. So vehicle speeds and crosswalks. Okay. Some of the other answers we've gotten during the online survey was a lot of people just thought there's nothing to walk to and it's just not an interesting corridor. So that's less on the infrastructure side, but more on the planning and economic development as well. So kind of going back to that graphic and that overarching theme of how do we build a community where it's safe to walk or bike, we kind of have some examples and to get your feedback on these proposals. One is trying to answer that question about it's just not interesting. So, trying to look at how to incorporate public art. This is just an example of, some easy public art that was done in the city of Decatur, where they just added some statues along on a bench in the sidewalk. Along the sidewalk. It just provides some of that visual improvements. So looking at, opportunities for public art, either that the city does or allows other residents or businesses to look at, will be a recommendation that will be incorporated into this plan. The other aspect, and this is just a draft of some of our improvements, is looking at doing some better lighting, transit upgrades, and crosswalks. along the corridor. This is just a rough sketch of the corridor of some of the improvements that could happen. Obviously, all these improvements cannot happen at once, and there is currently not a funded project for this corridor, but this is an opportunity and a vision for that the city can use to do some future planning and program development of this corridor for both Washington Road and other corridors within the city. So to wrap it up, one of the last questions is, what would make walking feel safer on Washington Road or other streets within the city of South Fulton? So for this one, you can just text your responses in. You can text more than one answer as well. All right, I got walks, better lighting, crosswalks. I think that's what they're going for. Better sidewalks, better lighting, art, okay. I'm sure that's going to be public art, how it comes across. Signals, 88, which is, this is the anniversary this past weekend of the ADA law. Okay. All right, we're gonna just move on to our last slide. Thank you everyone for participating. We're also recording this session, so if you do have any other comments about Washington Road pedestrian safety, we encourage you to mail them into the City of South Fulton. And Marissa, can you give us that email address?
Yeah, sure. You can reach us at planning@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. So that's planning, PLANNING, at cityofsouthfultonga.gov. And we can keep a running list of all of the questions that people ask, and we can post them on the website too, so that you guys have those. Anything, questions, comments, we're open to all of them, so feel free to shoot them our way.
All right. Thank you very much, Marissa. We are, trying to finalize and wrap up this project. We will then also have a draft available for public to review and also provide some comments on as well in the near future. But if you have any other questions or comments, we strongly encourage you to reach out to the City of South Fulton. On behalf of the Atlanta Regional Commission and the staff working on this project today, thank you for coming, and if we hopefully can hear from you soon. Thank you very much.